Hello and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Good News York. I'm your host, Mike Brindisi. Follow me on all socials at MikeBTV. We did not have a show yesterday because we were under 10 feet of snow. I thought about building an igloo, actually, and Matt and I doing it from there, but that fell through, literally. Listen, it is Tuesday. We are sponsored by Ads on the Go. GetAdsOnTheGo.com, and you can follow Good News York anywhere podcasts can be followed at Good News York on all socials, goodnewsyork.com. Today I am joined by a special guest. It is, I would say, this season is your Super Bowl. Senior Tax and Accounting Specialist from Key Advising, Frank Donaldson. Frank Donaldson, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
The clap.
No, yeah, I do. Yeah, so I do that for each guest because we don't have a studio audience, but I feel like you should get a warm welcome.
Thank you.
You know, you're here. So much to talk about, Frank. You bring over 15 years of tax and accounting experience to Key Advising, and you're very passionate about building long-term relationships, helping clients feel confident and informed. But before we get into the numbers, how does one just kind of start off and go, you know what, accounting, that's my thing? Because I'll tell you what, while some people might think I could never do accounting, it's too many numbers, it takes a special person to be able to do it. Not just for the mathematics, but for having to deal with everything that comes along with it. So when did you know, like, you know what, this is what I want to do?
Well, I'm a weirdo in that I was always good at taxes, not taxes, but just numbers in general. So, I remember when you'd go around the kids in school and be like, what are you going to be? And they'd be like, firefighter, police officer. I literally said accountant. Now I had a family member who was an accountant, so I kind of knew them, and it seemed like they were cool and everything. So that might have been what led to it. But yeah, no, I've always kind of wanted to be an accountant. I don't think it was really until college when I was like, oh, this is actually kind of hard.
Yeah, well, most certainly is.
It takes maybe a special type of personality.
It most certainly is. And you know what? I love that so much because, I always grew up, and as a young kid, I knew I was like, I want to be creative and be on camera and be on stage. And it's something I knew, at an early age, but like the thought of doing something like what you do is completely the opposite of what I do. And I'm just thankful there are people out there that do want to be accountants, because what would we do if you all just disappeared, right?
Exactly.
What do you think one of the biggest misconceptions people have about accountants?
I think there was always a misconception, even when I was in college, like they would have, especially when it came to the tax end of things. Because you either kind of went into an audit category or a tax category, and the audits would meet with clients and go to lunch, and the tax people would just sit at their desk and do work 24/7.
Right.
I still kind of end up doing that still, but I would say it's more than just sitting in a cubicle and doing work, like especially with taxes. It's a lot of interfacing. It's a lot of, almost teaching in a way and babysitting clients to make sure that they're doing things that make sense for taxes, or at least they know, oh, if you do this, Uncle Sam's gonna be calling.
Right.
So yeah, it's been a lot more of this and interacting with people than I think that maybe some people picture accountants sitting in a cubicle just running reports do.
It's awesome. What was the moment in your career when you were like, you know what? I'm actually good at this. Was this something right away, or did it take some time?
It was pretty much year one. And I wasn't sure what category I'd fall in accounting, and whether it'd be like, bookkeeping and kind of keeping track of books, or on the audit side, or just doing taxes. But as soon as I was introduced to taxes, it kind of just clicked a thing in my brain of just realizing how much money people can save, or how much money people can owe if they do things incorrectly, or if they just have so much money, there's not,
Sure,
there's no way around it.
I have thought about this question every tax season. I think about this when I meet with an accountant. I've had different accountants over the years, and this might be a dumb question, but I think I speak for most of the public that really don't know the complete ins and outs of this business. Is there really, let's say I go to Frank Donaldson to do my taxes, and I don't know, you stop practicing, so I go to a new person. Is there a huge difference between each accountant? Like, is it pretty, I guess, consistent across the board on what our return or what we would owe would be? Or does each tax accountant have their own way of finding more details, and you should be a little bit choosy with who your accountant is?
I think you should definitely be choosy because, especially in the accounting business, that there are some people who are rigid in the way that they think. So, like if you have a small business and you don't want to use like a home office expense, some will be more forward to doing it. Some will be, a little bit conservative when that goes. Also, again, with just meeting someone who actually is interested in your business or your tax situation, because everyone's different, and what helps you might not help another person. So you really have to dive in as an accountant to kind of be like, all right, so what's going on here in your situation, what will actually benefit you. And some might not be as forthcoming with that and kind of just stick to their sort of rigid
So you could,
ways.
there is a possibility you could be leaving some money on the table if you're not with the right accountant?
Correct, yes.
Wow, that's my biggest fear. Great. Um, well, it sounds like advising is a big part of this, which makes sense. The name of the company is Key Well, the proper name is Key Advising.
Correct.
Okay, it's just Key Advising. All right, and it was Key Financial and Advising.
Mhm.
Key Advising, and I wanted to ask, tell us a little bit about how the company started and like how did you become a part of that team?
Yep. Well, I'm new to it. I didn't start till literally this past summer in August. But Jeffrey Keeler, who's where the name Key kind of came from, um,
Mm,
kind of had a cushy corporate job and decided that he wanted to work out on his own, and he had more of a passion for small businesses, and like his sort of niche is into bookkeeping, and fractional CFO services. So basically, a business starts up, their accounting's overwhelming. He'll come in there and be like, all right, so, how do we get our books accurate? How do we get them accurate and in a way to where the owner, who might not be an accountant, can spend more time on the owning stuff and not on the bookkeeping? If you get certain softwares that integrate with certain things, eliminating redundancies, and then from there, once you have accurate books and everything sort of streamlined, how can we be more profitable? So that was sort of what he brought, and he didn't have a tax background, so
mm.
we had shared some clients, so he had always wanted to add something, because there's not too many firms that do the bookkeeping, help you with being more profitable, and can offer you tax advice and tax preparation as well.
Oh
So we
wow.
got
So
together and worked it out, and yeah.
would you say that is kind of in that world? Is that what makes Key Advising kind of stand out from the rest? Is that you offer all of those services?
Correct. I'm sure that there might be some small ones out there that'll do everything, but especially in Syracuse,
Yeah,
there's not many that you can, you usually have to have your bookkeeper, and then you'd have your own tax accountant, and you try to get everybody on the same schedule. And it's a little bit harder than, you know, you
sure.
just have one, and you can send one email out to everybody and it gets to me, or, one meeting that we can sort of work out and really kind of hammer that all down, because taxes can get kind of steep if you're not prepared for it.
Right, right. With the advising and everything that kind of comes along with it, what's the most common financial mistake that you see smart people make over and over again?
Um, I mean, sometimes it's timing of things, and a lot of it will be like with property, especially now, because there's certain rules with the Trump tax plan, and now his, Trump tax plan 2.0, that is beneficial for property owners. And some people will sell a business, or sell a property, buy a new property, and either not do it properly, as far as with the exchange, or just not really speak with a tax advisor to realize, oh, I'm still stuck with paying
Yeah,
30 grand in taxes on this rental property I
sure.
sold, kind of a thing. So I mean, it's really the timing, with that goes, because I think everybody sort of thinks, oh, I sell this property, I'm just going to buy a new property, and it's, you don't have to pay tax on it. It's not really
Oh, I learned that
the
lesson.
correct
My
way.
wife
Yeah.
and I had a house. We used it as a rental property when we bought a new house.
Yeah.
We sold it and we got hit with the capital gains.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's not fun.
No.
But I'm glad you said that. It was almost like you knew I was going to ask this question. You know, a lot of what you do does work alongside of the federal and state government. I mean, that's the whole deal, right? That's the taxes. How do you and other accountants and your company, how do you stay up to date? 'Cause things are changing, especially with this administration. Things are changing daily. How can you kind of take us
Mhm.
through that and how you navigate that?
Well, yes. So first off, for anyone who's licensed like me, I have to do 72 hours of continuing ed every 3 years,
Hmm.
16 minimum. Obviously, I did a little bit more this year just because there was a lot of new stuff to kind of get in there. But I mean, yeah, it's sort of the job when you have to do the continuing education as licensed by the government, but then also, um, you know, really trying to keep up on it because there are a lot of changes. Most of them aren't as beneficial as I think people think they are,
Sure.
but um, yeah, it's just part of the
So
part of the job in a
it's
way.
partially mandated,
Yep,
and then part of it is kind of your own.
correct. Yep.
Yeah. Does your company, Key Advising, do you strictly work with commercial businesses or do you work with individual clients as well?
I mean, where we go after, or I'd say what Jeff has more of a passion for, me have more of a passion doing, are clients that are small businesses. So that's primarily who our clients are. Might just be a single member LLC that just runs a consulting business that's just them. It could be an HVAC company that has 10, 15 employees. Like we don't really like going after the corporate culture just because it's not as fun and rewarding, I guess,
Sure.
as working with small businesses. But that's primarily. I mean, there are some personal tax clients that we do and that we'll add. But as far as for what I would say our niche is more of
And see,
that small
I
business.
love that because it goes back to what you said at the beginning about you're also advising and you're getting personal with these people and getting into the minutia of their everyday lives and business. So I think that's key. I love that you're dealing with local small businesses, and
Mhm.
helping the community. What are some people what's something that people think they need to worry about financially, but they don't?
Um, That's a good question. I mean, I would say the biggest misconception that I usually get in taxes are people's investment accounts.
Mm,
Um, how much money is in my IRA, how much does my IRA earn, how much does my 401k earn? All those, I mean, are good to know financially. But for taxes, you only have to pay tax when you either sell that stock in a brokerage account or if it's an IRA or 401k until you start taking the money out of it.
mm.
At that point, you end up having to pay tax on it. But I think there's one because that's usually what people bring in these and like, oh, the market did really good this year, and it's sitting in their 401k, and it's like, I mean, it might be a problem in the future, but for right now, not so much.
Yeah. What do you think separates businesses that survive from the ones that kind of quietly disappear? Because I'm sure you unfortunately see that from time to time.
Yep. I mean, a lot of it is accounting related. Either you're not prepared for the sales tax that comes out monthly, or the income tax bill that comes out at the end of the year. Um, yeah, because you do have to sort of factor in, oh, I have this business, but now all of a sudden I have to factor in my taxes. And then plus, I have this business and I'm doing it myself. I'm running the accounting myself. It's taking 10, 15 hours a week. Is that really the best thing for you? Or
Hmm.
is it better to do what you're good at?
Right.
Whatever that is, and leave the accounting, I guess, to more people who are a little bit more specialized in it.
When you're working with these companies, I mean, is it just you, Frank Donaldson of Key Advising, working alone, or is there a team that kind of helps you? Because I'm sure there's so many details that go into each client.
Yep. I mean, at least with key advising, again, we have Jeff, we have an assistant controller as well, who will go out and help more on the bookkeeping end. The taxes is kind of falling on me at this point just because it's new when I just got started hired in August. So kind of a new service that we're adding, and maybe looking to hope to grow that in the future. But yeah, so you have that, but then also, if you have a small business that has 10, 15 employees, you probably already have a bookkeeping accounting clerk that you need there 24/7. You need them all the time. So, you have that, and then us that kind of comes in more on the advising end of making sure that the processes that you're doing aren't taking 4 hours longer than it should.
Hmm.
Oh, you could have just done it in this software and it would have integrated right in. You didn't have to spend 1 minute entering everything individually like how you did then. So yeah, the accounting is, generally you'll have that person who's always there to do your bills and your accounts receivable and all that stuff. And then us to kind of advise and make sure that it's going well, and then obviously the the planning and making sure that you're running as profitable as you can.
You know, you mentioned how you don't really work with corporations, and your kind of your bread and butter is small businesses in this area. You grew up in Cicero, New York. Is there something unique about advising clients in Central New York compared to what it would be like in bigger cities?
Um, I mean, I would guess since we have a pretty good mix of people on the, I guess on the spectrum of how they feel about taxes. Um, I'd say the unique thing about Central New York is, I mean, many people who are here grew up here and decided to live through these winters. And at least in my time spending with the most small business clients around here in Syracuse, New York, that's stuck in Syracuse,
Hmm.
I find that they're more, I guess, I don't want to say noble, but they treat their employees well. I mean, it's actually a pretty good community. There's a lot that the small business community gives to certain charities. Um, yeah, I mean, I just feel like the class of people in Syracuse, New York, and small businesses are maybe a little bit more family oriented than a big city where it's profit first and
100%, yeah.
don't care about anybody else.
What do you think? What do you think is one financial move you wish more people in Syracuse would make sooner?
I mean, it's always creating the retirement accounts as early as possible. I mean, I fell for it. I mean, I didn't really start until I got into my 30s. And now thinking like if I just started that 401k earlier, that extra 10 years of growth and money put into it could make my retirement account a couple $100,000 more at least at time of retirement. So that, I mean, it's something that I usually, because when you're young, unfortunately, when you're young, you have a lot more expenses than maybe, 15, 20 years ago
Yeah.
with house buying and everything else. So it's a little bit tough for them to start out. But yeah, if you can start a retirement account as early as possible, I mean, you'd see it better in the future. Again, it's
That's what I tell my
especially now.
kids.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're like, Dad, shut up. I don't want to hear about that. I'm like, I'm telling you.
Mhm.
What do you think is one of the most stressful money conversations people avoid, but they shouldn't?
Um, I mean, I think it is retirement, just to go on the same thing. And again, I'm not really a financial advisor. I'm more on the tax end of things. So, maybe someone that's a little bit more in finance would have a better answer for it. But I think there's always a tough discussion of here's my retirement account. If I throw it in this calculator, this is how much it's going to be at age 65 or whatever age that you want to retire. Social Security, if it's still there when it gets to that point, who knows? Um, yeah, I mean, I think there really is. There's like this immediate need, and there's this immediate need to go buy that new car. But, you really see it when you get older of once it gets to retirement age and you see these people just living off of Social Security or small retirement account. It's worth it to kind of go through it and try to save as much as possible, in my opinion.
Absolutely. What's a popular, I guess, money rule that you completely disagree with? Is there one?
Um,
Or maybe that's like overrated, you know?
it's a good question. Um, I mean, there's usually the big thing now that it feels like there's, again, for retirement stuff, there's pre-tax and post-tax retirement accounts of what's better. Um, I mean, because most people will just say do the max into a regular 401k to
Sure.
as much income as possible.
Right.
I mean, there is some advantage of maybe doing something more post-tax. You pay tax on it now, but then when you take it out, it's tax-free kind of a thing. That'd be the only kind of just trying to find that mix. And again, it's personal to where your income situation is. If you're in a high tax bracket, maybe you want to load up on as much pre-tax stuff now. But if you're not in that high of a tax bracket, maybe you should start planning and doing some more stuff into different accounts.
A few more questions because again, I know this is like your Super Bowl, right? This is your
Yeah.
season, man. You got to get back to work. There. I'm not going to mention exact names, but there are chains that that do your taxes for you. And I know again, you work with small businesses. This is more of a selfish question.
Yeah.
Do you find that going to a chain like that is okay and it has its benefits, or would you recommend going with a private person or firm?
I'd say, nothing against some of those firms. Again, they're for-profit corporations, so the people they have working on them aren't licensed generally in any way. At least most of them aren't. They're just people who kind of went through their program and then they go through their software and do everything.
Oh,
You know, if your taxes are simple, it's just a W-2, and maybe, you know, that would kind of make more sense, or trying to find an online software that you can do it yourself.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, personally, I find that, you know, some of those firms kind of overcharge a little bit.
That's what I thought. They felt cookie cutter to me, to be honest with you. That's kind of the vibe I got.
They plug in your W-2, they ask you a couple questions, and then here's a $400 tax bill.
Yeah,
in your,
that sounds about right.
yeah.
Couple more questions. What do you think is like a respectable time period between when you file your taxes with an accountant, whether it's a small business or whether it's individual? You know, I've had years where it comes back in about a month, or maybe even 3 weeks, and then I've had years where it took like 4 or 5 months. Do you think there's kind of a window that accountants should hit?
I mean, when it comes to refunds, it's sort of out of our control as soon as we hit that send button and the federal and state government get a hold of it.
Sure.
Now, the IRS will say 2 to 3 weeks, 90% will get refunded. Usually when it's after 3 weeks, there's some sort of issue, whether it got hung up in processing somewhere or just manually it checks a box and now they have to have an employee actually review it, which during certain times, especially around COVID, would take 6-7 months, you know, to get your refund. You know, and the state doesn't really have anything published for how long they take, but usually they're more in the 3 to 4 week type of a range of how that refund goes. But as soon as we hit the send button, it's all on them. The whole thing is just making sure that you accurately and timely filed it, so that generally there's a better chance that it's going to go through as quickly as possible.
Here's the real question. How the hell do you ever reach an actual person at the IRS? Are you able to do that as an accountant?
So as a practitioner, there is a line that I can call.
You've got the magic number, Frank.
That can get a hold of somebody, generally easier. But yeah, no, it's those lines are they're a little bit better now. I will say this, but there was a good time period for 3-4 years where you'd call, you'd be on hold for 2 hours, and then they would just either hang up on you or they'd say, we're not going to get to it today, and hang up on you.
What do you, tax season ends in April-ish. I remember I managed a music venue bar, and every year in April, these accountants locally would come and have like a party. You know, they would we would cater it, the whole thing, and it, I mean, it really was them blowing off steam. Do you feel like you need do you get a couple days off after the deadline? How does that work? Do you blow off some steam? You crash?
Pretty much. I mean, I'll be honest, it's a little bit better. A lot of the firms now are really pushing the work-life balance.
Nice.
So it's not as bad as when I first started, when it was like you'd work 80, 90, 100 hours a week. And yeah, and it would be tough at that point to stay awake and yet alone keep some sanity, especially with taxes, especially when you got that last rush of taxes in April where you just wanted to, you know, strangle everybody who was taking a long time.
Of course. Now, before we go, let's talk about, you know, anything you want to plug about the company. Frank Donaldson company is Key Advising. Anything you want to mention? Any events coming up? Any calls to action for customers? Anything you want people to know? Final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. So I mean, basically, again, I mean, we're a firm that's with you throughout the entire year. We're not looking to just be a tax season client. We want to be someone that you can talk to be, if you have an idea of, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? And again, we also have the business that's more to business clients of doing bookkeeping and, you know, analyzing your books and making sure there's a profitability part to that. It's a little bit late for any kind of 2025 tax season savings, I guess, at this point. There's not really much you can do. But yeah, if you're looking for a business that can help you with your accounting and then also kind of add this tax side, because I mean, the timing of things, if you buy something in December versus January, it could cost you $20,000 if you didn't think of the full picture of all that. So yeah, if you're looking for any kind of help, reach out, look up keyadvising.com.
Yeah, please give the plugs. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Social media, whatever you got.
And yeah, look into us. We'll do a good job.
That sparked one last question, and that is, I think, I mean, it's a broad question, but is there any tip you can give for a regular old Joe like me that maybe, don't, when you're doing your taxes, people always overlook this. Make sure you look into this. Anything like that. Any tips for us?
I mean, the big thing this year is just that we have a few new things that you can do. So whether it's seeing a tax advisor, especially this year, to make sure that you're filing it accurately, because some of those things, again, depending on your tax bracket, could help quite a bit. Now, I think when they passed the whole no tax on tips overtime, no tax on Social Security, which didn't end up going through, I think some people are thinking that they might be saving more money in taxes than will actually happen. Just because there's little nuances with that, and depends on your income, and the overtime, for example, you only get the deduction for that half pay. So if you made 20,000 in overtime wages, you're going to pay tax on the time that was your 100% full pay. The deduction's only for that half pay. So that's like one little thing that I've already kind of seen. Some people have been like, why does it only say $500? I know I did way more in overtime wages than that. That's all that kind of ends up getting deducted. So there's a lot of little nuances that really, look up as much as you can or see a tax advisor. Make sure you're filing it accurately.
Perfect. And then the real question, why am I 43 and still have trouble filling out a W-4? Because when I got hired here, or anytime I stare at that thing like it is in hieroglyphics. I don't understand how I am at this age and not able to. Do you find there's a lot of adults that still struggle with that?
That's the biggest tax issue that comes along if someone doesn't file the W-4 correctly. Now, it used to be easier. Like, you're single. Oh, I've got one kid. I claim myself, bam, and it somehow worked out to where they took out the right amount of tax. Now it's single. You have to go through this chart if you have multiple jobs or if you have a spouse.
Yes.
And then there's this little tiny box that everyone sort of skips. So like, do I have a spouse that makes within 1/2 of my pay? A lot of people don't check it. And then all of a sudden they file their taxes and they owe $4,000. And you look at the W-2 and it's like, they just didn't take out as much tax as they should have.
See, I didn't even say the right one. It's the W-2 you fill out.
Well, the W-2 is what you get from the employer.
Okay, no, I was right.
The W-4 is what you fill out so that they hopefully take out the right amount of tax.
Yeah, so that happened to me last year. Maybe, after we get off the air, I think I'm going to have you teach me how to fill out the W-4. Anyway, Frank Donaldson, Key Advising, right here in Syracuse, New York, Senior Tax and Accounting Specialist. Thank you for your time and for everything you do for us knuckleheads that have no idea what we're doing. We really do appreciate you. It's a wonderful company. Check out Key Advising. And with that, that is another Tuesday edition. And Frank, thank you for coming, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And with that, yes, that's another Tuesday edition of Good News York. Follow us on all social media at Good News York, goodnewsyork.com. New episode Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. We are sponsored by Ads on the Go, getadsonthego.com. And you can follow me on all socials at Mike B TV.
Hey, everybody. It's Matt from Clickstream Studios. Welcome to Good News York. I'm very excited because this is the episode where we get to tell you about our weekend that's coming up here. And we are joined, you might remember if you've been a fan of this show, this gentleman's been on. We've talked about him a few times, and honestly helped us get our start last year at his event. Everybody, welcome back to the show. Stereo Steve Becker is here. How are you,
Thank
Steve?
you, Matt. Thank you. You got a point. You launched Good News York at our Winter Fair last year, Syracuse Winter Fair 2025. And look what you're doing. My gosh.
We've grown by leaps and bounds in just under a year, which is pretty cool and terrifying all at the same time. But yeah, as Steve mentioned, he is the gentleman behind the incredible event known as the Syracuse Winter Fair that takes place this coming weekend, the 30th through February 1st at the Great New York State Fairgrounds in the Expo Center. It's a fair.
Yeah.
It's at the fairgrounds.
Yep.
But it's all indoors.
That's right.
This is an incredible concept.
90% of it is indoors. We're bringing summer fun into winter. That was the concept. And also to bring the community together.
Yeah.
Because, we have the midway rides. Where do you see midway rides in the middle of winter?
Yeah, you can go on rides.
There's nothing like this in New York State.
Yeah.
Because we have to really thank New York State for building that expo center. It's over 100,000 square feet. It's the largest open space outside of New York City between Boston and Cleveland. And it's right here. We're a destination.
Wow.
And that was my whole concept in the beginning, was to give people something. I mean, you take a look at the weather that we're having right now. Guess what? It's going to be nice and warm inside.
Yeah.
You get to get all those things that you usually experience during the summer. We have so much food. Pizza Frites will be there. And we got Limp Lizard. Even Chick-fil-A is coming in.
Really?
Yes, Friday and Saturday they will be there. And then we'll have Kiki's with their Greek cuisine.
That's good stuff.
We have a place coming out of Connecticut called The Taste of Ukraine. And they're going to have
wow.
stuffed cabbage and beet soup. And
Oh, wow.
it's something for everybody there. And we also want to thank Onondaga County. They're going to do the fireworks. There are some things outside
Yeah.
that we're doing. The fireworks, Ryan McMahon supporting this again. We have our ice sculptures. We will have ice sculptures out there from Averdi, Americu, and we also have Woodford Brothers. They'll be there. And of course, we're going to have the reindeer out there.
Yes.
And that's going to be on Saturday from 10 to 4. They were young last year, and their antlers are even bigger.
Oh, wow.
And we want to thank Good News York for being the sponsor.
Absolutely.
And 10 to 4, you come, take a selfie with them, and then come on in and just enjoy. The other ones we want to thank, Destiny USA. They're a destination. We're a destination. And we're working together.
Yeah.
When you go into Destiny, when you look at their directories or that big, screen that they have rotating around, they're promoting.
Yeah.
Syracuse Winter Fair
I've
2026.
seen the Winter Fair ads.
And we got
pretty
great
cool.
entertainment because we're doing something a little bit different. We've got some great groups at night. We're going to have Los Blancos at 5 o'clock on Friday. Then at 7 o'clock, it will be Brass Inc. And then on Saturday at 5 o'clock, it will be the Barn Dogs. And then a group that everybody is like this 80s music. It's going to be the Arcade. And then on Sunday, we wrap everything up with the Black Lights. But during the day, we're going to be focusing on our kids, students from elementary school up through college, dancing, singing, performing, because we want to show what our community is all about.
Yeah.
So people will come out, and we're doing something special. We're dedicating the entire event to Van Robinson. He passed away last May. And Van was always a visionary here and a community leader, and he really did help us in getting this thing off the ground, and that was in 2019. And so we want to give thanks to Van.
That's
We're
great.
doing a special presentation at 1:50 on Saturday afternoon. Linda Brown Robinson, she will be there. That is the wife of Van. We have the new mayor of the city of Syracuse, Sharon F. Owens, will be there.
Nice.
I made a very special plaque in honor of Van, and we expect there will be other, representatives there and such. Then afterwards, I don't know if you've ever heard of Dom Cabareri.
I don't know.
Dom is one of the founders of the Field of Dreams that they're building in Carrier Park. And
Wow.
he's unbelievable. He's an attorney, and he's a great singer. He has sung at the Dome. He has sung at the ballpark.
Wow.
And he's going to sing the national anthem. And I call him Dom Dio Cambareri because he styles himself after Ronnie James Dio.
That's great.
So he'll give a rousing edition. And then right after that, we're going to have the Scouts doing a campfire setting. We're going to have a campfire on the video screen, and they'll be doing sing-alongs with the attendees.
I love that. I love that. You always change it up. You always have some different community group that performs, whether it's, dancers or whatever. This year, it's the Scouts, which I love as an old Boy Scout myself, hearing some of those campfire songs. That's going to be awesome.
I mean,
it's fun because you have, I guess you would call it the traditional live entertainment, right? We've got a lot of these well-known musical acts all throughout, but we also get this kind of community entertainment. I feel like you don't, even at the fair, I feel like you don't necessarily see a lot of events like that. And the crowd loves it. I mean, the people that you pack in for
Yeah.
those things.
Well, you know,
It's a great idea, Steve.
I've said it. One of my joys is hearing the kids scream on the rides in the middle of winter.
Sure.
And you come out. I mean, we're going to have at least a dozen rides out there for the youngsters that are over 30 inches. We have a good 7, 8 rides. You know, merry-go-round and roller coaster. But for the older ones that are 48 inches, we'll twirl you around a lot. You know. Yeah.
My kids love it. That's the best part there.
And we try to make it reasonable from the standpoint of expense, especially
Sure.
these days. And so there's different ways that you can get tickets that are inexpensive in a sense. We have our online ticket, and that's $5 for adults with a small fee. And then for seniors and teens, it would be $3. Children 10 and under are free.
I think that's huge, that part right there.
Yeah. But even more so, one of our sponsors of the hoop area,
Uh-huh.
boy, I have to tell you, some of the players coming out that will be doing autograph signing and such, but we raise money for the Boys and Girls Club in the hoop area, and we want to thank Market 32 Price Chopper for helping with that. They donate, they promote, but they approached me and said, Steve, we like to sell tickets. They're in 130 locations in 7 states.
Wow.
We want people to come from all over, and tickets at Price Chopper, you can go, you know, even during the event, $4.50 for adults, and for seniors and teens, $2.
Wow.
Now at the box office, it's $8 for adults, $6 for seniors and teens. Always the kids 10 and under are free. So we encourage people to bring the families, and of course, there's lots of shopping there, crafters, and do you need gutters on your roof? I mean, you know, it really is that flavor that you get during the summer.
Yeah, that's the thing that's so neat is there's everything you love. There's the food, there's the, you know, you mentioned all the kind of meal foods, but they're also the favorite fair snack foods, right? You got your cotton candy and your all of those incredible sweets that I shouldn't eat, that I am definitely going to dig into.
You like pickles? We have all sorts of pickles. All, you know, nuts, cheeses.
I'm thinking the wine slushy folks will be back, hopefully.
Yeah, okay. Wine slushy will be there. We
That's
have
my
a place,
kryptonite right there.
We actually have a place out of Canada.
Oh, wow.
And they're called Super Crunch. They cook up the fruit.
Wow.
And they put it on like a stick. You know? Like, you know, and have all different fruits on there. And they're a hit, and they'll be there. You know, baked goods. You know, we really tried to use variety. We talked about the hoop area and some of the athletes coming out on Friday. We're going to have James Mongrel there from 4 to 5. James played for Syracuse, and he wound up playing for the Indiana Colts.
Oh, wow.
And won the Super Bowl ring. We have another gentleman, even though he didn't go to SU, he's from this area, and his name is Leroy Collins. Leroy wrote a book where he had a really serious accident. He was in a wheelchair as a child. But he worked his way back, and at his high school, he set records. He played for Alfred State, for Louisville, and he played in the NFL. Played for the Redskins.
That's incredible.
For the Jaguars up in Canada. Well, he lives in this area. His wife works here. He lives in Fulton. But you ready for this? He's the running back coach for CBA, Christian Brothers Academy, with our state champs. So he'll be there. And then we got Rob Drummond on Saturday, along with Mookie Jones. Remember Mookie? And then on Sunday, full tilt. We got Roosevelt Bowie. You've met Rosie.
Yeah, we know Rosie.
Great guy. We got Gene Waldron coming out. And then we have the entire Lemoyne basketball team, men's team coming. So, you know, it's all for a good cause. We've raised over $15,000 for the Boys and Girls Club, and we want to help, and we're doing it in the honor of Lawrence Moten. Lawrence was an amazing person. He was so happy to be back where he grew up and helping kids, and unfortunately he passed away back in September, so we're honoring Lawrence as well.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. And, you know, we keep talking about all those things, and that just goes back to your original comment of the size of this expo center and how neat of a resource this is that we have here at the state fairgrounds. We talked about the food, we talked about the rides, we talked about the entertainment. We should probably get a little love to the vendors, because that's a part that I think is pretty neat. You know, whether you're at a fair or festival, anything like that, you know that there's a type of vendor, type of folks, local small business owners usually, that have products and neat things that you can't get anywhere else. And normally you can't find any of those products until the summer. So
and we have certain nonprofits. We want to thank Latoya Jones with Let's Safe Coalition, CNY. That's part of the United Way. They're going to be our sponsor for the healthcare village.
wow.
And you know, right now we care about our kids. We care about the lead in the water and such. So they will be there, and they'll be interacting. We have some other, healthcare organizations and such. But like you said, you know, the latest thing is 3D printing.
Yeah,
What they create and all. The technology is unbelievable. But
it really is.
if you need a new bath or shower, we got Bath Fitter there. They're going to be one of our Ice Sculptor sponsors. And the free parking from AmeriQ, come on. You know, I mean, and we have to really let people know. You're not going to be walking over a bridge to park. You're not going to be taking a bus. All the parking is right there. It's a 5-minute walk, and it's absolutely free. And so there's really no excuse not to be there.
That's a great point, Steve. I didn't even think about that, because when you do think about the state fair in the summer, you think about parking somewhere off in God's country and hoofing it to the event. This, you literally pull
You're
up
right
to the
there.
door.
And we want to
essentially.
thank the state fair, the people that we're working with and such, very supportive. This is our 7th year.
Yeah.
And I pinch myself of going, wow, you know, and that's the smile I get, is seeing like what you're doing for this community, and how you just, Spaghetti Warehouse, you took over for that, and create something cutting edge, but it's not cutting edge anymore. And that's what it really, you started with IT, and, you know, and then look what you're doing. Clickstream, I mean,
It's
blowing
up.
And you said to me, just like, you know, I do some Facebook advertising. In the last 28 days, they said there has been over 300,000 views. And you told me, what, 6.5, almost 7 million views in 1 year? Come on.
GNY, we hit, and this stat was as of a little over a month ago, 6.5 million views. So in less than a year, we were able to generate that kind of buzz. And it's been incredible. And since we're on that topic, let's talk for just a second about what we're going to do there, right? Because we're going to be at Winter Fair. We're not just a sponsor of the reindeer, as fun as they are, but we'll be inside. Steve has upgraded us to an even bigger space.
Well, what we would like to see, sometimes you see the cooking demonstrations and their seats and everything. Well, why not have some seats there where people can stop and watch you, interview? And there's going to be a whole array of people you interview, from 100%. The businesses to some of our representatives. I know Senator Chris Ryan will be there.
Great.
Usually we see a host of people. And you know, and we're hoping that County Executive Ryan McMahon will be out there. You see a vision here. I understand the detractors. This has been a difficult situation when some of the manufacturers have left.
Sure.
And this has always been a manufacturing hub. Now we have Micron. And you know, I mean, like
Things
anything, you know, you can't do it in a day. But I'm out there, and I'll tell you, what I'm hoping for next year is to show off Micron, the aquarium. I mean, these are visions that, if you want to attract people, there's a lot to do here. Can 100%. You imagine? 100%. I know Destiny at one time was going to have an aquarium. Now it's just across the street. And
I'm very excited
I
about that.
think I would love, you know, I'm getting up there, you know, age-wise, but there are certain people that are well in their 80s, 90s, and the hundreds still doing stuff. I hope I can still be there to see the fruition of all the efforts, and it's very rare in this political climate to see everybody come together.
Yeah. No, it's a great thing, Steve. I'll tell you, the first time I walked in there and saw that and looked around, I'm like, this is no joke. You know, I'd known Steve for a little while at that point and heard about the event and like, yeah, that sounds neat. Until you walk in the door and realize the scale of it and all there is to do and everything. It's truly incredible, Steve.
Well,
I still haven't figured out how you pull it off.
What
but
I've been doing lately on some Zoom calls, that I'm doing and such for interviews, I have the background where they can see all these booths set up and rides and
yeah, that's
and
perfect.
such, because you get the oh wow when you walk in there, because it's so big,
Yeah.
number one, but it's filled to the brim.
Yep.
And I'm so glad that, there's a slogan sometimes where people say it's going to be bigger and better.
Yeah.
And to me, well, then what are you doing now?
Yeah, right.
So I always look to enhance. I look for new ideas.
Sure.
And that's what happened is, after last year, I said, well, why don't we focus on the kids? When you do the ice sculptures, last year we did it a summer theme.
Uh-huh.
And, you could see somebody swinging a bat or out on the beach, sunshine. This time you'll see a baby through the course of graduating.
Oh, cool.
And, we're going to have, I believe, like 5 of these ice sculptures that will
Those are
signify.
so neat.
And it's cool. You take pictures and things like that. So we try something, that term, something for everyone.
Yep.
But I think that's what you feel. And, I added the sun on our billboards and we're doing movie advertising. We got the word out there. And usually it's the week leading into it that most people go, oh, let's go,
Yeah. No, that's it. It is the Syracuse Winter Fair. It is at the Great New York State Fairgrounds. Starts this Friday, the 30th at 3 o'clock. Doors open?
Yeah, what happens is officially we say, but if people are standing in line, we start letting them in around
Sure.
2:30. Same thing. Saturday it's 11 to 9 and Sunday from 11 to 5. And we
Great.
jam pack it. With the rides, people ask, it's a $25 unlimited ride. You can do everything. But we also, you see how many tickets each ride takes.
Yeah.
And you pick and choose. But what we do say, because we look out for safety, if any of your children are under 30 inches, it's more liability and such to look out. And so any child 30 inches or more can ride at least about 7 rides.
That's incredible.
And then the bigger ones are at least 48 inches because I think you like Dakota, don't you? That twirls around. And
I don't. My daughter does. She did that one a few times last year, actually, I think.
So, no, and we got the Avenger coming back and giant slide, which
I was
is
just going to say, you got the giant sled. That's the thing
Yeah,
that always stands out. You see
and I
that
think
massive
this
thing.
one may be lighting up.
Oh,
this
wow.
one. Oh, yeah. No, I have to thank Kevin and Steven Jenkowitz. They run Main Event Amusements, and they're out of Salt Lake.
Wow.
And they're out during the summer and all over.
Sure.
And one of the point people...
You must make them interrupt their winter vacation here to come do this event or something, don't you?
Well, they're always, they were just down in Pennsylvania. There was a big conference down there.
Oh, wow.
And they won an award for 2025 of
That's
being
incredible.
one of the top, event people. And I've known Kevin a long time, but my person who works with them is Alan LaVenture.
Uh-huh.
And I thank Alan because he's taken different roles over the years. And he works with them for these spring, summer, fall events. And it's great to have a good staff, as you know, the people working with you that get it, and again, I'm appreciative of the fair, recognizing, what we're doing. I want to thank Julie LaFave.
Sure.
I know they're already working on the fair for the summer.
Of course.
Announcing, different groups. And, I came here in 1979 and did radio, as you said, my nickname Stereo Steve. And I started working with all the fair directors. It was Tom Young, Wayne Gallagher, who came from Texas, their big fair. Then Pete Capicelli, then Dan O'Hara, then Troy Waffner, then Sean Hennessy, and now Julie Lefebvre.
Wow.
And I thank Julie for the support, because I know I did see her come out with her son last year to enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was great. Julie's the best. We interviewed her at the beginning of the summer fair this year for her first fair. She was wonderful to us. So glad to have her on board. Steve, the website is nyswinterfair.com, which is a great place to go get your tickets in advance, like we talked about. One other thing I will toss out, if you follow us on Facebook, and if you don't follow us on Facebook, what are you doing with your life? Like, get it together. But if you go to our Facebook for Good News York, you will see the top pinned post is a post about Winter Fair, and we are giving away some tickets. And
Wow.
We're probably going to choose the winner of that tomorrow. So today's the last chance. But just share that post and tag us. Hundreds of people have already.
Make sure you put down our Facebook. You know,
It's all there.
You know,
so if
Syracuse Winter Fair, and I mean, we got some great responses because, you know, we've done tickets like with Family Ties. I think they had like 1,000 people.
That's awesome.
Reacting. You know.
But yeah, if you go to the Good News York page and share that particular post and help spread the word about Winter Fair, we will choose a couple of folks to get some free tickets for.
Oh, and there's one thing.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the fair in agriculture, and we have something very special. I don't know if you met Mike Atkins, I think, when you were at the
I think so.
press conference.
Yeah.
Mike has been doing this project at the King School, Martin Luther King School, and he is showing students how to grow vegetables.
Wow.
Hydroponics. And he's going to be out there with the students showing seedlings growing with, you know, hydroponics. They're going to take a piece of parcel across the street, create this whole, because that's for, you know, no offense to when you go into a supermarket, and if you are looking for collard greens, they're like about this size.
Yeah.
His are like this.
Wow.
And he's teaching the kids.
That's awesome. I love to hear that.
And that's going to be like right in the front as you come in.
Cool. So many cool things at Winter Fair. We, the entire Good News York team, will be there. We'll have a mini set up where we'll be doing this very show right there at the fair, interviewing all kinds of people. We got people lined up. Steve's got people lined up. We'll grab randoms from the crowd and have great conversations with them, as we always do, especially after
and you're going to be right by the stage. We're going to have a special setup for you where you can interview, and we have a great duo that I was able to put together. A lot of people are talking about Sydney Irving.
Awesome.
She just got a record contract with Warner's.
Wow.
And she's going to play in New York, Philly, Washington.
I love it.
Actually, she played Winter Fair 4 years ago when she was 18. She's 22, and she's going to play with Just Joe.
Oh, nice.
An acoustic, like, songwriter set, and that's going to be at 3 o'clock. And, I mean, right now, I'm going to do a very bad interpretation. Right here on our stage, it's the Ed Sullivan Variety Show, you know?
I love it. I love it. Winter Fair, that's it. The name of the game is Family and Value. Free parking, thanks to AmeriQ. Free admission for kids under 10. I mean, that's half the crowd.
10 and under.
10 and under. All kinds of incredible value. Food, fireworks, which honestly are some of the favorite part. Which evening is the fireworks?
Friday and Saturday at 8:45. And if it's cold, just sit in your car, watch the fireworks. They'll be out there.
That's what I did last year as I was getting ready to head out. I sat comfortably in my car and I saw the whole show. It was so cool.
2 years ago, it was minus 20.
Yeah.
And they still went off.
Honestly, there's something about it. I don't know, the way they look in the sky, and maybe it has something to do with the temperature.
Because of the chill in the air.
It's a neat thing. You don't usually see fireworks in the winter.
And it's a 15-minute demonstration. You get
it's a legit
everything.
show.
You get a great, you know, everything popping up for the finale and such. And we try to schedule it so everybody, because we wrap up our music around 8:30.
Perfect.
And then at 8:45, you just go out to the car.
And 2 nights of it is great, because what'll happen on Friday nights is the fireworks will go off, and half the people on Facebook will go, "Did you hear fireworks? Where did those come from?" And you can tell all your friends they came from Winter Fair, and if you go tomorrow on Saturday, you can actually catch the whole show from start
And
to
not
finish.
only that, on Saturday, if you can't make it to the Dome, we're going to run the SU Notre Dame game on the monitors.
There you go. There you go. What more could you possibly ask for in a weekend of entertainment in Central New York? I'll tell you what. Steve, thank you for joining us on the
thank
show, and for everything you do with all these projects. So we
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. And catch Steve and I tomorrow on Bridge Street, where
Yes.
we'll be talking even more about
Oh,
fairs
yeah.
and reindeers.
Yeah.
And
Oh, it's going to be,
good times,
and
so.
you can talk about, Clickstream and what you're doing there. And
I got a hard
I think
time
it'll be
not
great.
talking about it, Steve.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been a great episode of Good News York. Please like, follow, share, all of that stuff. And don't forget our sponsor, Ads on the Go. GetAdsOnTheGo.com. That's our man, Zach, with the billboard truck. Steve knows Zach well.
Yeah, and they'll be advertising
He'll
Winter
be
Fair
there.
on there.
He'll be there. So, yeah. Peace out.